So, I've been dealing with a lot of burnout lately. And in my everyday life, I find that burnout often leads to me struggling to think of things to work on and draw. And when I don't fill my life with going out into the world and exposing myself to new experiences and conversations and people, that what I rely on to draw has to come from me, and I'm not feeding myself, I'm not feeding my soul. So I usually start off by drawing random things. Like the first one I scribbled out was the most boring person in the world, just someone standing there. And that could be interesting and of its own accord, but it didn't appeal. And even this figure with this up angle, something I prefer to draw a lot, I found it boring. Didn't want it, didn't care for it. And all of this sketching and movement are very comfortable movements. These are angles and styles that I'm tired of. I need to move away from. Part of me wishes I might have stuck with this one. I think it would have been an interesting piece. I've done one very similar to it, which is why I think I ended up abandoning it. Also, you're about to see me draw the worst face. Bad. So, when I get stuck like this, I try and then do something that's very much outside of what I typically do. Maybe structure it in a different way. Start drawing from dark to light. I really enjoy when I'm stuck, when I'm burnt out, when I'm having like an art block, to kind of do scratchboard style bits and pieces. And that's how this gets started. I'll just lay something down in the background and start erasing and taking away. And working with negative, like in the negative, seems to maybe hit a different part of my brain. I'm not sure what to make of it. But it makes me think about light, and it makes me think about how it's manifesting. And I put these hands in. So I'm like, oh no, they're too big. We're gonna scale those hands right back down. There's an interesting thing that ancient Egyptians did where the focal point was often larger than, and I feel like we do that sometimes. I think in like some of Picasso's work, the shapes and the scale of different parts of the body would change because of the focus. I think that's that whole childlike wonder that he was trying to go for, although he's a very problematic figure in and of himself. I think there's some merit to it though. And that play, that artistic play, is so important. And I feel like in my everyday life as a contract artist, sometimes it can feel like there's too much of a strive towards perfection. And I get really tired of perfection. Perfection's not fun. And beating yourself up to do something perfectly, to make it perfect and, correct, or whatever that is, whatever that perfection is for you, to always strive for that, it gets boring. And working in a digital space, we have the ability to undo and correct in ways that we don't typically do with traditional. And that's not saying you can't with traditional, but you have more options. Control Z exists. And you don't get the accidents as often digitally. And it's easy to correct them or undo them. And I think there's some magic to working with the mistakes. I think it's why I like working in my sketchbook with gouache so much, because sometimes you make a mistake And then there's this challenge and joy of turning that mistake into something really good. And sometimes, no matter how hard you try and make that mistake into some sort of like happy accident, to quote Bob Ross, sometimes it doesn't work, and that's okay. And you can let it go. And I think there's just some interesting lessons in life that kind of align with that and mirror that experience of sometimes you try really hard and it's just not quite gonna work out just that way, and you can let it go and it's okay. I also have to admit that it is very much late at night for me when I'm doing this. My thoughts tend to wander more. I like trying to find happy and joyful things that feed my soul, make me excited. Especially when I start feeling like burdened by the things that I'm working on. And the things that I'm working on should make me very happy, and sometimes they don't, and I'm not gonna beat myself up about that. Because today's just not the day to be excited about those things. Sometimes you have to soak that in, accept it, and like let it wash through you, and then find that spark of joy again. And maybe it'll spin you in a different direction, find new patterns and new things about it. That's often the case for me. Even projects that I dread, often at the end of it, I'm very proud of the stuff that I've been able to do and to work through. Sometimes in the middle of the process, I realize I'm having fun, and then I just keep leaning into that fun. And sometimes it's just trudging the entire way, and the relief of being finished with it is the best part. And that's okay as well. I don't know what this figure is up to. I don't know their name. I don't even know who they are at all. But there's just something comforting about not knowing. Letting the shapes and the figure and the form reveal themselves and let them tell you who they are. I was really interested in the drapery and the shapes. And I think overall this is a piece I would like to expand on. I kind of like what's going on here. I'm not sure if I would crop it just to highlight this figure, or if I would fill the rest of the page up with similar doodles, or shift her around and blow her up and repaint her. Go about it that way. I don't know. Maybe make her not a her, make her a they or a he. I tend to default a lot to the female form. So sometimes when I put sketches like this down, I'll play with the gender slider, so to speak. And in that process discover some new things. I'm pushing the darks a little bit, trying to get some depth. And that's the fun part about a project like this, like a little doodle. It's the freedom to play. And you should play. Even if you're not doing art, like, play every day. Even as an adult. I think that's important. Have fun. Find things that make you laugh or smile. Be ridiculous. Like, how often do you get out of the shower and just dance ridiculously in front of the mirror? Or do the thing where you make your belly button make a mouth? And if you can do that. Yeah, I think it's important to play. This piece also almost feels like a relief or a statue I'm looking at it now. Like I don't go back into the hands all that much, but I'm considering what if they were holding things. What if there's plants around them? What if there's other figures? No, but I don't like the idea of them having other figures. I kind of like the somber loneliness of this in one figure. I think it mirrors something in me right now. I don't want that bit that fell out of me and into this random late night doodle to disappear. I kind of want to honor it and let it be. I do hope that if you're just listening to somebody ramble in the middle of the night as they doodle, that you find comfort and you find your joys where you can get them. I think it's too much to ask to be happy all the time. I think that's an expectation that's too hard to hit, so you're always bound for disappointment in that way. But enjoying the happy moments as they come, being okay to be in that like neutral state, that feels good too. I like to joke that I'm a garbage optimist, and that typically means that the optimism that other people throw aside or throw away are the bits and pieces I like to pick up and marvel over. Like if somebody's like, oh, my day's been terrible because of, I missed my alarm and I was in a rush and I did all these things. And yeah, but your hair looks great right out of bed. You got here safely. This is actually a really nice day outside. You got here rushed, but you got all your stuff done. And there's this whole rest of this day full of hours and all kinds of things that have the opportunity to be happy and joyful and like counterbalancing. I think that's where the drive in me comes from when that's presented, is to counterbalance some of that negativity, because we get wrapped up in it. We don't even realize it. And we can really impact the rest of our day. I had a hard time deciding if I wanted her to have eyes. I ended up putting them in, but I think having them closed is an option. I might go back and revisit it. I will definitely go back and revisit. But just, adjust, see what I can do. I'm about to fix her nose here. I had it pointing down, and then it's more of an upwards angle. So you'd see more of the underside of her nose, not so much the top, so I'm back and adjusted that a little bit. When I scribbled her face in, I had all these marks. I kind of left them. They kind of look like face paint. I don't hate them. I'm ghosting in some more hair. Kind of like it's chunky. It's got a good feeling. I need to go back in and rework her face. But this is just a quick sketch. I like the vibe. I think that's mostly what I was focusing on, was the vibe. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and join me next time, where we can talk in the middle of the night about random things. You stay safe out there.